Welcome to the Games That Never Were, Episode 2, Thrill Kill. My last vid keeps getting views, and I did enjoy making it, so here's Episode 2. Thrill Kill was developed by Paradox Development and published by Virgin Interactive before they were acquired by Electronic Arts, which then canceled at the last minute because it was too violent. I'm not sure if that's exactly true, but it's the official story, and what people said at the time. You see, I have a personal story about Thrill Kill. When I was in high school, we had a career day where you spent a day at a job site for whatever job you might be interested in at the time. I remember me and my friend Lee thought about doing something with video games. The only problem is there's no gaming company around, so they sent us to a local video game store where the owner, I think his name was Mike, let us hang out and play and talk about video games all day. It was one of the best school days I ever had. Mike sold games and modded PlayStations, so you could play pirated games. Back in the day, my local video store had a 99-cent rental for games and movies on Mondays, so people would rent like 10 or more PlayStation games, burn them to a blank disc, and then play on a modded console, saving a lot of money, but not legal. I remember at the end of the day Mike telling us there was this game banned because it was too violent, and then asking, "Do you want to play it?" Of course we did. And while very tame by today's standards, back then, I hadn't really seen anything like it at the time. I remember we played the hell out of it until it was time to leave, and Mike kept saying it was too violent to be released. But here's why I don't think so, because Mortal Kombat was already out for a long time by this point, so in my opinion it was probably cancelled because of the sexual themes. The game did have characters in BDSM gear, with moves that had names like Swallow This. Back then, this would have been shocking to see in a video game, and I can only imagine the uproar if parents had seen this game at the time. The Senate hearings about violent video games had just happened a few years before. Strangely, the game actually started as a Mayan basketball game called Earth Monster, but Paradox wanted to make a standout fighting game and changed it. Even after Thrill Kill was cancelled, Paradox reskinned it and toned it down and released it as Wu-Tang Shaolin style, but since the developers had worked so hard on Thrill Kill, someone leaked it, and I will always be thankful they did. It is a really fun game, and I'm not normally into fighting games, but Thrill Kill was different. As far as I know, it was the first 4-player 3D fighting game. Instead of a life bar, you had a kill meter that increased with each successful attack. When it was full, you could kill another character, removing them from the fight. It was chaos, but a fun chaos. Everyone was beating the shit out of each other, then frantically having to try to get away from someone whose meter was full. What was the game about, you ask? Well, the game was set in hell, with characters fighting for a chance at reincarnation in a tournament put together by a demon named Maruka, which you can play as in the game, who can teleport in fights. The other 10 characters are Belladonna, a librarian turned dominatrix, who killed her husband and sister after finding out they were having an affair. She killed herself with a cattle prod, and now has a cattle prod as a weapon. Cain, an arsonist who died in a fire he set, and can shoot fire out of his backside. Cletus, a cannibal hillbilly who fights with a severed leg. He died eating infected flesh. There's Dr. Faustus, who was a plastic surgeon that liked to kill and disfigure his patients. He died trying to put a bear trap on his face. His weapons included a scalpel and his metal mouth. You can also choose the Imp, who is a dwarf leather daddy who hates tall people and died sticking stilts to his legs. They never explain why he is in hell, and he does use his stilts as weapons. The character Judas is a pair of conjoined twins that are connected at the torso. The game never explains why they are in hell either. Then there is Mammoth, a postal worker who went postal after getting fired. He looks like a big skinless gorilla and fights with his fists. The last 3 characters are Oddball, an FBI behavior analyst who became a serial killer. He has no arms and fights with headbutts and breakdancing attacks. Tormentor, a judge who let killers go so he could hunt them down and kill them himself. He died by execution and fights in BDSM attire. using a heated wit. The final character is Violet, a circus contortionist who hates men because she was raped when one broke into her dressing room and she then killed. She died of a spinal cord rupture and uses her flexibility to attack opponents. I really don't think she should be in hell, but I didn't design the game. There is a 12th character that is a non-playable in training mode called the Gimp. I don't need to say more. If you don't know, watch Pulp Fiction. The game would have came out in October of '98, and they tried to tone down the adults only rating to mature after they found out many stores would not sell an adults only game. In August, EA purchased Westwood Studios, which led to EA gaining the publishing rights to Thrill Kill. After looking at the game, EA decided they didn't want the backlash that could follow if it was released and deemed it too violent for publication. According to Lewis Castle, founder of Westwood Studios, EA was working hard to overcome the industry stigma of games as a more violent medium than film or TV. Thrill Kill's development team wasn't even told of the cancellation. They found out about it in internet articles they had read. As time has gone by, some Paradox employees have pointed out ties between EA and Senator Joe Lieberman, who was against violent video games, as EA's reason to cancel the game. Even though it never came out officially, you can easily find it on the internet to this day. And I've even seen them with a case and manual on eBay. But you will need a modded PlayStation to play it, which is a shame, because I'm still hoping one of these companies, like Limited Run Games, will do an official release after all these years. I'd still like to own an official copy, and it's crazy no one has done this since the game is pretty much finished, but only time will tell. Anyway, if you like this series, go ahead and like, share, and subscribe, and turn on notifications, because these only come out when I have the time, and that could be months to years, and I'm not going to keep bugging you to subscribe like most YouTubers and podcasters. I upload it on YouTube and an audio version on Spotify. Just search for The Games That Never Were. Links for all my sources are in the description below, and until next time, this is Sergeant Zombie, signing off.